So last week, I spoke a little bit to you about something called the security dilemma. And you'll remember that it's the paradoxical situation that the more a country prepares for defense, sometimes the less safer that country becomes. And in statecraft, we talked about it, right? Your arms buildups are visible to any country that runs spy missions, right? So like it won't be a secret, right? So arms buildups can actually make you less safe, not more safe, right? Now, but this, taking this back to IR, this is because there's a result of anarchy. We don't believe that there's someone who's going to take care of us in the world, right? There's no big referee who's going to take care of us and punish the evildoers. So we have to do it ourselves. So the result of anarchy is that states must respond to capabilities rather than intentions. I'll say that again. States must respond to capabilities rather than intentions. I don't know your intentions. I only know how many weapons you have. I'm not responding to your intentions. I'm responding to your capabilities. So your arms build up and your intentions are totally peaceful, but you have a big arms build up to protect yourself. How do other countries know that you don't mean them harm? So I'll say that one last time. Because of anarchy, states respond to capabilities and not intentions. Okay? And since this is the case, anything you can do perhaps to distinguish between offensive and defensive weapons, right? If you just build landmines only, maybe countries will say, okay, that's a defensive country. So in statecraft, there's a couple to answer this. In statecraft, defense has a slight advantage based on the way combat's calculated, right? So defending ground units, especially in difficult terrain, receive a combat bonus, and attacking ground units receive a penalty. So if you can put your soldiers or your defensive combat units in the mountains or something like that, you're in good shape. But overall, offensive and defensive weapons are not clearly distinguishable for most of the time in statecraft. There are some weapons that are only offensive, but there are some weapons that are only defensive, like landmines, anti-aircraft systems, city walls, fortifications. But to really be safe, you might want to think about both. But then you're running into the security dilemma again. So this brings us now to the next issue. So I think you should understand the security dilemma. That's an IR term I want you to know. Okay. Now we're going to talk about commitment problems. That sounds like a bad dating show, commitment problems. But another way to phrase it is something called the problem of credible commitment. This problem is also caused by anarchy. Because who's to make a country keep its promises? There's no higher authority. So this is going to happen in statecraft. It happens in the real world, and it's absolutely going to happen in statecraft. Let's say, okay, two countries, country one and country two. And country one asks country two to make this deal to provide, let's say country one asks country two to provide half of its resources so it can build the National Big Railroad Project, which will double gold output. And they'll promise to give the other country 50% of the gold back in return, right? So you give me this, I get the railroad, I'll give you half the gold back in return, right? Win-win. But the country could stop providing the gold at any time. So how are you going to trust someone? I give now, am I going to get later? Or country A invades country B and promises to stop the attack if they give them certain concessions, right? We'll stop attacking if you do this. But there's nothing to stop country A from continuing to pocketing the concessions and continuing to attack. So this is the idea of a security commitment, right? How do you trust? And so I'm wondering, or I'm sorry, a commitment problem. That's the term I've been using. Is an example of a commitment problem. So really, the question is, as you're playing the game, have you already experienced a problem of credible commitment or a commitment problem? What could you do to overcome that problem? So here's one possible solution I would offer. Can you find an outside actor that has an interest in protecting the weaker actor, right? So if you're in the weaker situation, could you find someone who can become the enforcer in this system of anarchy? Would the stronger powers have a commitment to help you because it's in their interest to help you? So that's what I'll have you think about. So again, the two terms today, the problem of credible commitment and the security dilemma, two important IR concepts. I want to make sure you understand them.